Hey, welcome to In Wheel Time, Houston's most popular live, weekly, award-winning car talk show. Along with Mike Out of This World Mars and King Conrad DeLong, I'm Don Armstrong. So glad that you could join us today at our new time slot, live from 10 a.m. until noon Central Time every Saturday. We've moved it up a bit.
Here.
What time did you get up this morning to get over here?
Oh, I slept until 5:15.
5:15. Slept right in.
Yes, I
By
did.
golly.
Yeah, I got up about 6:30, rolled back over, didn't get out of bed till about 7.
4:30 for me.
Well, yeah, but you're always an early bird.
Yeah, I just
Because you could sleep for 8 hours, but your bladder can't go more than 2 at a time.
no. You're speaking for yourself, sir.
Yes, I am.
Yeah,
Yes, I
that's
am.
no. I'm good in that regard. Do we have Michael?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So
Woody.
our theme today is used and pre-owned cars, and we've been talking to dealers, and we've been talking to Carfax, and getting all of the pieces in line, if you will, the stars aligned, so we can go and actually have some sort of knowledge when it comes time to go and buy a used or a pre-owned vehicle. And I thought, what if we still wanted to go and kick the tires ourselves? What if Maudine, right down the street about 4 doors, had that car for sale that we've been looking at for 15 years? She finally decided to go ahead and put it up for sale. I want to go buy it. So
Who would we get to go appraise it?
Well, we could get Michael Wooding with the Auto Appraisal Network to go look at it. But I want to kind of take a look at it for myself first.
Well, you got to look at it, decide if you want to get him involved. You can't tie him up for everything.
Right. So I thought, well, what better person to talk to than Michael Wooding with the Auto Appraisal Network to give it, because he does this for a living, to give us some sort of a general oversight and overview as to what we look for when we open the doors, when we pop the hood, pop the trunk, look underneath. What are we looking for? Michael, it's always good to see you. Thanks so much for joining us on this Saturday where you have nothing else to do. Clearly.
How you fellas doing today?
Well, we're doing just fine, and we appreciate you taking the time out of your day to talk with us today. So since you do this for a living, I thought, well, this is the perfect person to talk to when it comes to kicking tires. So when you're doing an auto appraisal for an actual classic, an antique, modified car, whatever it is, what is it that when you start? Where do you start? What do you do when you get out and you see the car for the first time? Take it from the top. Ready, go.
Well, there's actually 2 different procedures there. When you're talking about classic cars, it goes one route. When you're talking about late model cars, it's a whole different story.
All right. Well, let's go with the late model because we've already talked about the classics.
Okay. Well, let me play the devil's advocate to start here. As much as I admire Carfax and love the information they produce on the car, everybody needs to understand that information is only produced by Carfax when they have access to it.
Right.
And the only way they have access to it is through the insurance companies releasing that information. So when you get into, you talked about earlier, the flood of rental cars coming on the market. The majority of the rental cars companies are self-insured. So they can take a car that they've rented out, had an accident with, repair it, and there is no record available for Carfax to have.
So in other words, buyer beware when you're going to go and buy one from, let's say, Hertz Used Cars lot.
Well, and like he said, they run them through auction and the dealers buy them.
Right.
Oh, yeah,
Right.
Because they don't know.
So you could end up getting it from a dealer as well. I think I mentioned on an earlier show where I had a 2018 Ford Explorer Platinum, bought certified pre-owned through a dealer. Had an accident that did $32,000 in damage. I did a diminished value appraisal for her, and when she turned it in to try to collect the diminished value, they said that the car had been in an accident before, and therefore she could not claim diminished value.
Yikes.
Well, so we know that there is a caveat almost to everything in life. So let's use Maudine's car down the street that I've had my eye on as an example. It's a 1977 Chevy Nova with a straight six in it.
Oh,
And to my knowledge, well, pick one then if you don't.
Well,
like
he said
that.
late. If we were going to talk about late model, it's kind of moved
Yeah, I was
up.
thinking like a
All right.
2012.
2000s.
Well,
Let's
hold.
talk about the 2010 Jaguar I bought in April.
All right, let's talk about
yeah.
that. All right,
How's that?
good.
Okay. Shopping the old interweb, looking at cars out there. I had a particular, I didn't want the black or the gray colors. I wanted something a little livelier. So I ended up finding a nice blue color called indigo blue up in Austin. Okay.
All right.
And the pictures on the web, needless to say, digital cameras can give you pictures that look a whole lot better than what you actually see in person.
Oh, of course.
Okay. So I drove to Austin and looked at this car. And the things that I look at when I look at these, and you got to understand, cars today, the body's primarily plastic or composite pieces. So you're not really looking at rust on the body panels like you would on an older car. Okay. What you're looking for when you go to the body is change in color on the paint. What is it matching exact from door to the rear quarter, from the trunk lid to the side quarter, from the hood to the fender? Make sure that the color matches all the way around. That in itself doesn't guarantee that it hasn't been wrecked if they did a good job matching the paint. Then you want to look at tape lines. Where would they tape the car off to paint that particular part on the vehicle? Look for overspray that lets you know that the car has been repainted, because at the factory, those parts are painted and put on the car long before the trim is. So if there's some paint on the trim, there's a good indication that that car has been repaired at some point in time, whether the Carfax says it has or not. Okay. I always tell people I can tell a whole lot more about a car from the underside than I can the top. So you want to get to where the car was. Once they move the car, look at the ground underneath. Is there any drops of oil in the engine area, in the transmission area, in the rear end area, that you can see where that car had been sitting before it's moved to let you look at it? Okay, so look for that. A lot of people I know will go drive the car and then throw down a couple of pieces of paper and drive the car up on the paper.
Just to look for
And
those
let it
drops
set
that
for a
happen.
few minutes, pull it off and look again. Okay. So there's several different things you can look at there. Like I said, most of the cars are plastic and aluminum today. So the rust isn't the biggest issue that you're really searching for. You talk about flooded cars. I don't care how well they clean the inside of a flooded car, you're going to let your nose work for you, because you're going to smell it. Somewhere you're going to smell it. You might not smell it when you open the door, but don't be afraid to get down and smell the carpet. I mean, you're fixing to pay $20,000, $25,000, $30,000 for this used vehicle. You want to know what you're getting.
Give it a sniff.
So smell the carpet. Flooded cars today, even if it just got to the floorboards, is a major issue, because there's so many electronics hidden down below the seats and low in the car. And once those electrical connections have been exposed to water, unless each and every one has been taken apart, dried, and cleaned, they're going to corrode quickly. Okay, so you're going to have faults start to occur rather rapidly.
Yep.
So those are some of the primary things that you want to look at on later model used cars.
What about underneath the hood? What about the trunk? What about that area back behind the seats?
Under the hood, cleanliness is number one to me. Now, a lot of dealers will detail the engine compartment, but they always miss something that keys me off. And you can imagine a car sitting outside under a tree. These people don't have a garage. It was kept in an apartment complex. Okay, you open up the hood, and those little areas back at the back edge of the hood that collect leaves and dirt as the car sits outside, that's where you're going to see some discoloration in the paint. You might even see some surface rust. The shock mounts, where they come through at the top. Look at the top of the studs on the shock mounts. Are they rusted or are they nice and shiny? Okay. Pop the air filter container open. They're usually pretty easy to do. They're in a plastic box up underneath the hood. Pop it open and see if it's got a good clean air filter in it.
See if the squirrel's been
well the car was maintained.
Yeah, see if a squirrel's been storing all this.
Pull the dipstick. Look at the oil. People think, I don't need to do that. Yes, you do. Look at the oil on the stick. Make sure it's nice and clean. There's no sludge at the tip of it. Pull the transmission stick. Make sure it's nice and pink and not a burnt color. Those are things you want to look at on the later model car.
Check power steering fluid.
Power steering fluid. Look for leaks around the power steering fluid. You can reach down there and rub your hand on the hose.
Brake fluid.
A car with 30,000 miles on it's going to have a little residual oil. Okay? So don't think that just because you get a little bit that's an issue, but if it wets your fingers, then you're going to have a problem down the road.
Well, all great tips. I mean, yes, especially things like the shock towers, the shock studs coming out of the top of the shocks. I would never have even thought about that.
No, but it makes sense. I mean,
Yes.
that's just another place you should not see something.
Yeah, exactly. And just buyer beware. Where do you get an appraisal value for the Jaguar that you're talking about? So you have actually a ballpark figure that car is worth. Is it something that is readily available to people that are going to go and buy a used car like that?
Yes, with the internet today, you've got Kelley Blue Book and NADA, and all of those are going to give you a root number to work on. A retail value, a wholesale value, and a trade-in value, okay? And then you got to let the car speak to what the actual value is when you get there and look at the car. Like the Jaguar, when I found it, they were asking $22,000 for it. When I looked at it, the tires had pretty poor tread. So I pointed that out right away. There's a $1,200 expense to put new tires on it, $1,400 expense. One of the wheels had some chrome coming off of it. Once that starts, you can't stop it. You're going to have to get the wheel re-chromed, and that's a very expensive procedure.
Right.
Okay. Even with my knowledge and ability, I bought the car, brought it home, and within a year, now mind you, this is Jaguar. I was warned of this. Being in the business for years, I've seen it happen to other people, but I went ahead and made the mistake because I just loved the look of the car and the performance of the car. But I've had to replace both cooling fans, the air conditioner compressor, all 4 wheel sensors for the brake pads, all 4 rotors, all 4 brake pads in just a year.
Yeah, and none of that's cheap. If it's not on a Jaguar, nothing is cheap. Whether it's the parts are expensive or the labor to do it's just as expensive.
That's correct.
But again, it's a matter of having the eye, looking for it. And do you kind of go on a little bit of, for lack of a better phrase, because my wife tells me about this all the time, intuition. You see something that isn't quite right, and you can't necessarily explain it, but you kind of, that intuition says, I need to look a lot further into whatever it is you're looking at.
Yeah, and you know, things let you know how a person's taking care of the car. Look how clean the carpet is inside, especially on the driver's floor. Then look at the back and the others. You know, there's been a bunch of people riding in the car, just one person most of the time. Look at the door dings down the side of the car. Were they careful with the car? Did they park it at the back end of the parking lot? Or did they always park right up in the front? And it's got door dings down both sides. That tells you that's somebody that used that car as a piece of utility. They didn't care, okay? You know, I'm not going to park my Jag up in the front parking lot because it saves me a few steps. I'm going to park it a little further back where I think that maybe somebody won't park next to me close enough to put another ding in the car.
And then that redneck with the 1967 Chevy Beater pickup truck parks right next to you, out in the middle of nowhere in the parking lot, right?
Woody, we're going to leave it at that. Thank you so much for joining us. Auto Appraisal Network is his company, and if you've got something you want to get appraised, call Michael Wooding. Hey, thanks again. We really appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, man.
Always enjoy it, guys, and remember my show is coming up on September 26th.
That's right.
Today.
And that is going to be where?
San Leon, Texas, at the Topwater Grill.
San Leon, Texas. You got to say that with a little twang, my friend.
That's natural for me. I had East Texas parents.
Well, there is that. Well, we really appreciate it, man. Thanks again. It's always great talking to you. We'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks,
We'll
sir.
see y'all later.
All right. Michael Wooding, Auto Appraisal Network. Time now for Jeep Trails, and we'll times look into the world of Jeeping, and Mr. Mars has that.
Yeah, we often talk about the Easter eggs with Jeep and what they've done and, the little things that you can look for. Do you ever wonder where the first Easter egg came from?
Tell me.
In the front of the windshield where the air vent grill is. Originally it was just a vent, just like any other car, just a bunch of little holes there. So what they did, the guy, the designer, went in and he turned it in. He looked at the Jeep. He said, it's a 7-slot grill. Why don't we put the 7-slot grill there as well? I mean, it's just part of Jeep. So they moved it up there and they made it a 7-slot grill across there. And that was literally the first Easter egg. And once they did that, and everybody started saying, oh, how cool.
And it was on.
And it was on.
How many places can I drop an egg?
Exactly.
Well, it's funny because I had a Jeep Wrangler, which we'll review in a few weeks, just last week, as a matter of fact, and they have an actual Easter egg of that grill that you're talking about on the wheels on this one.
Yes.
It was a Sahara loaded up with a diesel and a retractable cloth top. Not a convertible top, but a retractable cloth top. We're going to review that in a couple of weeks. Just thought I'd throw that out there while I had the opportunity.
Cool. I looked at that. I was going to talk about that, but I saw the Easter egg thing. I thought, man, where did that start? So this is a good one.
Absolutely. All right, more of In Wheel Time online after this quick break.
When you suddenly love everything.
You guys, I love this song. I love these nachos. I love our kickball league. Ugh! I love this guy. What's your name? You know what I'd love? A ride when it's time to head out.
If you see a buzzed warning sign, call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I love your car. Is this real leather?
A social distancing tip.
Putting distance between yourself and others is critical to slowing the spread of coronavirus. So here are ways to stay in contact without the physical contact part. Call, send a text, set up a video conference, post on social media, dedicate a song on the radio. If you have symptoms of fever, dry cough, and shortness of breath, call your healthcare provider before going to their office. For more info, visit coronavirus.gov.
Let's all do our part, because we're all #AloneTogether. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
I don't know, how do we get in these conversations when we're not on? So it always winds up going back to Conrad's pedicure, and somebody mentioned the fact that they had to get the chainsaw out. It just is gross. Anyway, welcome back to In Wheel Time, the pedicure hotline. Time now for today's little tip that I got from Consumer Reports. Consumer Reports is just another avenue and another company that does reviews of cars, and they do some research and that sort of stuff. Some people I'll never do Consumer Reports. Why not? They're a legit company.
They get a lot of input from buyers as well.
I met some
more information,
Consumer Reports guys that they actually invited to a car reveal several years ago that I went to.
There's one of them that's a member of the Texas Auto Riders, and he comes to the events. Real nice guy.
So a new study by Consumer Reports finds that vehicle buyers often must pay thousands of dollars extra for life-saving technology that they say should come standard. 2 safety systems, blind spot warning and automatic emergency braking with pedestrian detection, have been found to significantly reduce crash, injury, and fatality risk on the road. Despite the clear safety benefits, these technologies don't always come standard in new vehicles, and too often come only with the purchase of a pricey trim item or as a premium add-on. So what Consumer Reports is trying to get all of the manufacturers on the same page and say, hey, look,
include it, kind of like analog brakes.
Or the rear view camera that's coming up pretty much standard on everything now.
So Consumer Reports reviewed the top 15 selling passenger vehicle models in the U.S. and found that blind spot warning is a standard feature in model year 2020 on the base level trim of just 3 of the 15 top-selling models and is completely unavailable on one model. Blind spot warning, Mike and I get to drive new cars, a different one every week, and that has become a huge benefit for me because without it, you've got to kind of go, is there anybody back there? Checking mirrors.
On the thing I'm driving out there now, it's got a 4-foot steeper on it. You just can't see anything out that side.
So blind spot warning is one of the things that I think that everybody should consider when buying a new car.
And the more things they add to the base car increases the price, but if they add it to all cars, that cost increase will be much less.
So
spreads it out.
On the remaining 11 models, the median increase in the manufacturer's suggested retail price MSRP to equip a vehicle with blind spot warning was, drumroll, $2,510 with one model. The F-150 requiring a $12,285 upcharge to include the system.
But that's just one of the components within the entire option package.
Well, yeah.
That includes a whole bunch of stuff people may not want because all they want is a blind spot warning.
Exactly.
Yeah.
My wife is driving her car. We had to step up a trim level. All I wanted was the bigger screen. I didn't want the little 5-inch screen. I wanted the bigger screen. I didn't want the V6. I didn't want the sunroof. I didn't want all the other stuff.
But you had to take all of that to get
what I wanted. I had to take it all.
So, and I guess there is some sort of a savings for the manufacturers to be able to offer certain things in packages.
Bundle it, just like your cell phone service and other things.
But there are other things like blind spot warning or a bigger screen. Why can't I order that separately? Because back in the old day, you could order everything separately.
Right.
Yeah, it would cost you several $1,000s more.
But you could do it
but
if you were willing to pay for it.
Yeah. So I don't understand.
Some of it, and I'm not making excuses, but some of them is the technology integration. So the integration of technology, blind spot warning, backup cameras, the backup radar system, the front radar system, all of those are intertwined that do the same sensors, do different things, and that may be some of it, but I ultimately think they're wanting you to buy the more expensive car, and that's why they package it the way they do.
Today's automotive news is next here on the In Wheel Time Car Show.
Texas Truck Works is your go-to truck customizer. From mild-to-wild lift kits, custom wheels, and steering and handling enhancements to the best personal and commercial wraps, Texas Truck Works delivers. Let Texas Truck Works founder Scott Stevens help you get the most out of your truck or Jeep. Texas Truck Works has decades of customizing experience, including power adders and complete engine swaps. Let the Texas Truck Works team design an upgrade plan that fits your budget. Get truck attitude today at TexasTruckWorks.com.
GTG, BRB, OMW, be there in a few. You may think that these kinds of texts are fine because of their length, and you can easily send them at a stoplight. But no, answering one text can take your attention away from the road for 5 seconds. And traveling at 55 miles an hour, that's enough time to travel the length of a football field. Make good decisions. Don't text and drive.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, Noise, and the Ad Council.
Hey, it's In Wheel Time. Thanks so much for joining us today with our new show hours live on our live feed, and that is 10 a.m. to noon Central Time. Are we keeping you awake? Did you just yawn? He just yawned.
Yes, I did.
He just yawned.
It's about the third or fourth time I've yawned. You're not keeping me awake. You just got me up
apparently
early.
not keeping him awake
just
very
very
well.
bored, apparently. There's that.
Man.
I love you, Don.
I love you, too. All right. Some of the stories making news headlines this week. AutoNation, auto retail giant, permanently cutting 3,500 jobs across the company, or about half the number of workers it furloughed in early April amid the coronavirus pandemic. Kind of goes back to what Mac DeLopp was saying, that the whole car buying experience is changing. And they don't need as many feet at the dealership on the ground working for them any longer because people aren't going to the dealership, whether it be used or new or whatever it may be. Mark Cannon, AutoNation's Chief Customer Experience Officer, where did they come up with these titles, said AutoNation was able to bring back many employees as vehicle sales have improved over the last several weeks. He said jobs were coast to coast in operations at headquarters, dealerships, and its shared service center in Texas, which handles back office work. At the end of 2019, it had about 25,000 employees.
Easily.
I had no clue.
Yeah, they've got almost 250 dealerships nationwide.
I don't know how you feel about. Were you a member of the union?
Never.
Okay. You were like white collar.
I was considered management.
Yeah.
So mismanagement in some cases, but management nonetheless.
Mismanagement. Good. Works for me. So at any rate, there's union news to tell you about.
We need union news.
Yeah.
Former UAW President Gary Jones on Wednesday pleaded guilty.
I was going to say he's going to jail. And lots of them did last year.
Well, there's some more.
Hey,
they're headed that way. Yes, he pleaded guilty to federal embezzlement and racketeering charges, a landmark development in the year-long corruption investigation into one of the country's leading labor unions. Jones, appearing in U.S. federal district court, admitted to stealing money from the membership he was elected to lead. In pleading guilty, Jones promised to cooperate with investigators as they continue to probe the union for financial impropriety. Guess what, buddy?
He's going to end up.
He's going to go down, and so are you.
Go big or go home.
No, it's used guys.
Used guys.
Used guys. Jones agreed to forfeit about 32 grand seized from his home last year, about $81,000 from his flower fund, and about $31,000 from another union account. He also agreed to forfeit a set of Titleist golf clubs seized from his home that prosecutors said he bought with UAW money. Oh, wait.
Yeah, I steal $4 million and I get $100,000 in fines. Sign me up.
Yeah, and don't forget about the boxes and boxes of these high-end cigars and other bizarre
alcohol and all kinds of stuff. Yes.
Yeah, all on union money.
And all of that increases the cost of your car more than the cost of blind spot warning systems.
Speaking of GM, GM is developing an electric van aimed at business users, joining a growing list of car makers planning EVs for the same segment that includes customers such as Amazon, UPS, according to 5 people familiar with the plans. This is from Reuters. The multi-billion-dollar strategy could enable GM, Ford, and at least 2 EV startups to build and deliver more EVs at a time when consumer demand for battery-powered models is still a small, teeny, tiny fraction of overall industry sales, while targeting a potentially lucrative market segment that Tesla has yet to address.
Look at all those gray Amazon vehicles driving around your neighborhood, and GM wants a part of it.
Yeah. So I'm being flashed signs by my daughter who has just joined us. Thank you, Amanda. We really appreciate that.
That's from your daughter.
Well, she knows me well, doesn't she?
Yes, she does. Yes,
who would know better?
No, yeah, that's exactly right. Love notes. Just saying. Well, guess what? It's that time to say bye-bye on that note. So we really appreciate you joining us. That is for today's In Wheel Time Car Show. Hey, when you're on Facebook, please give us a like and tell your friends about us. You'll get Conrad's unicorn hunting features, along with all things automotive all week long. The In Wheel Time Car Show streams on Facebook.com/InWheelTime, YouTube, and InWheelTime.com. Podcasts are available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher Radio, iHeart Podcast, Google Podcast, and Podcast Addict. Special thanks today to all of our guests. The In Wheel Time Chief Engineer is the fabulous David Ainsley. Our video and sales director is Jeff Zekin. This piece of mayhem was produced, written, and directed by Don Armstrong, and I'm sorry. For booking agent Mike Out of This World Bars and King Conrad DeLong, Don Armstrong saying so long for now. We hope you'll join us every Saturday 10 to noon right here on the Looking Glass Network. Thanks for being part of the In Wheel Time family. Enjoy your weekend. Be fabulous, and wash those nasty hands and stay sanitary like you know you want to. We'll see you next week.